Maseches Bava Kama daf samach daled amud beis in the bottom of the page. We are done. Baruch Hashem, this year's Lulu Nishmas of Imar Menachem and Akiva, Ruth Bas Sholem Sora Bas Moshe, Ulerefuas Yudis Bas Rivka, Besorch Shachol Yisrael. Says the Gemara. We're done with basically with proving, almost done with proving the fact that kefel has to be paid by both Ganav and Tointanes Ganav. We know that now already. If you don't know that, then you have to go back to yesterday's Shiur and the one before, and all will be well. Now, question. Question, we're being recorded, people. Thank you. Now, the Gemara still has one more box to tick, and then we're going to the next issue, the next topic. I just want to say here, as I'm recorded, something about yesterday, and that is the difference between klal upatu klal, ribu miut veribui. The question was asked, how come Rabbi Shmuel, in his famous brisa that some lucky people say every morning, as we should, why doesn't he mention ribui, miut, veribui? And that is because he doesn't hold of it. He doesn't believe in it. In most cases, yesterday was an exception to the rule. Yeah, when we spoke about the kosher fish in the water, there was an exception to the rule. But in most cases, with Rabbi Shmuel, the Kabbalah he had from his Rebbe and from his Rebbe is that when you have a general word, a particular word, and then again a big one, that it means klal upatu klal. That's much more particular and small, and it's like a smaller a group of items that are included. Shenkin Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was Bishmol's opponent in halacha. In many cases, Rabbi Akiva holds that you always or usually you say klal upatu klal. Even that's not so simple. You say yemut ribu v'miut. Apparently, it's a huge issue. It's a big topic. Sometimes there are exceptions. Some people say that yes, everyone holds of everything, but that's a general rule. Yeah, Rabbi Shmuel is on one side and Rabbi Akiva is on the other one. Now, okay, we're in the very, very last line of Samich Dal Amud Beis. Are you telling me that the words im himotze timotze come to tell me what? Im himotze timotze agneva biyodo yesho se bava chaim shnayim mishalem. Is it telling me that it's a klal and then prat or ribui miut v'ribui? Is that what it's coming to tell me? The details of gneva? Yeah. Hami bayile, we need it for something else, and that brings us to a whole new world. Lekedetanya, as we'll see in the brisa, yodoi. It says v'nimtza beyodoi. It says that if the gneva was found in the hand of the ganav, then what? Then he's got to pay double. He has to pay double. Also, he has to be chayv in oinsin. If a ganav stole something and it's already halachically considered to be in his hands, and then he was struck by lightning, then he has to pay. He can't say, it's not my fault, I would have given it back to you. Once he is described and defined as a ganav, then oines is chayv on anything that happens, as opposed to a person who's not a ganav. And soon we'll see, it's not simple. So all I know is that if it's in his hand, let's say he pulled it or he picked it up, which is a kinyan, hagbaha, kinyan meshicha, I know that he's an official ganav. At gagoy chatzeroi b'krapefoi minayin. How do you know that if the item fell into the ganev's roof, or it fell into his front yard, or karpifoi the backyard minayin? How do you know that in this case is also a ganev? In other words, what do you mean? Why is it ganev? It fell into his roof. So let's say you're not a ganev, right? You're a nice guy. We're all very nice people over here. But let's say your neighbor upstairs has a very nice baseball. Reminds you of the good old days in America. Baseball, and your neighbor upstairs has nice baseball, and it falls into your mirpeset, into the marpeset. It falls there by mistake, and then you close the mirpeset and you say, "Well, that's a nice baseball." The yetzer hara takes the better of you, and you just don't return it. You didn't touch the ball. Yeah, you didn't touch a baseball. But when the kid upstairs says, "Can I have my baseball back, please?" You say, "Your Yitzhara takes better of you," and really you are inside of you. You're a Babe, Babe Ruth, yeah. And you say, "I don't know what you're talking about. There's no baseball here." Are you a ganav or not? Well, that's a question, because in order to be a ganav, and that's going to be today's topic, you have to have a kinyan. In order for halacha to what did you say? Ooh, in order to be a ganav, a good ganav, I'm not joking, soon we're going to see what that means. In order to have the halachic definition of ganav, and that's going to be today's topic, you have to do a halachic kinyan, just like you do kinyan on with both sides consent, which is a normal kinyan. Then you have to do, well, kinyan is one of 20 things you can do, Moshe. You can either pick it up and do hagbaha, you can pull it out of his domain, and that's called meshicha. There's another kinyan called chatzer, kinyan chatzer. Let's say the baseball would have been hefker, yeah, would fly to the house from a park alone, and then people would say, well, it's hefker. Then by chatzer is koine. Kinyan chatzer means when something is in my domain, obviously with another person's consent, I meant to say. Then enochinami, it's a kinyan. One of the 20 odd kinyanim that there are is chatzer. What's in my domain, as long as it's legal, is mine. As long as people agree. Well, over here, the neighbor upstairs does not agree or he doesn't know. And then, do we say that kinyan chatzer is one of the kinyanim that to make a person a ganav? Is kinyan chatzer as legal, so to speak, as a regular kinyan for gneva, just like other kinyanim of meshicha and hagbaha? That's a question. Now, my question is, and that's Tosa's question, why shouldn't it be? Yeah, I portrayed a case which Stam Balabatish, I'm trying to work on your emotions and try to show you, once again, that if the person pulls it out of the house or picks it and puts it in his pocket in the middle of a fancy party, oh, that's something you wouldn't have ever done. But if something is already in your chatzer, Hashem loves me. Hashem made the baseball fall into my chatzer. Now I'm locking it. Says Rashi in a different place. I locked it, don't let it out. And I tell the neighbor, I don't know what you're talking about. That's why is it different? It's a kinyan. Just because it looks nicer, it's more white colorish. So what? Why does the Gemara need a special limud, a special word to tell me, that kinyan chatzer is as good as other kinyanim? Let me just finish a sentence and then I'll answer. Talmud loimar in himotze timotze mikol mokoim. The fact the Torah uses double word, it does mean surely. You know where surely belongs, yeah? Himotze timotze means surely is in the temple, not in the Orthodox shul. Im himotze timotze. If, since the Torah repeats the same word more or less twice, that comes to tell you that not only if the Ganav has it in his hand, and his hand is mufurish in the Torah, but we come to extend and expand the definition of kinyanim. Kinyan chatzer is also considered to be a kinyan gneva. And if it fell into my yard, or someone's animal, someone's dog, ran into your house, and really like dogs, because your name is not a kivatachtal, so then what? So I'm not choshev to steal anyone's dog, that's for sure. So then a dog ran into your house and you lock the door, and that's it. You call it a new name. You're the new owner and you deny the other person. That's kinyan chatzer. And you're a ganav for all nafkaminas we'll see later. Who says kinyan chatzer works for ganav and he's considered a ganav? Answers the Gemara, imotze. My question is, and it's Tosa's question, why would have I thought otherwise? You want to try and answer? Try and answer, no? No, but you never have consent by gneva, and it's still called kinyan. Oh no! You're missing something more basic because I'm not your fault. I did not explain. No, again. I'll answer, and then I'll answer my question, then yours. Yes. Okay. This is answer. Yeah. Let's look into this inside. Yeah, says Tosfos. En liable biyodoi. Look at Tosfos. En liable biyodoi. Says Tosfos. Pirush. Shigon v'biyodoi mamish. In other words, had I read the Poshup Pshat in the Torah in his hand. Hand means he pulled it, he picked it up. That's called gneva. Why? Not only because that's a gneva in the books, in the Goisha books, because gneva halachically is a kinyan. A person created a kinyan without consent. Now he's called a ganav. He has to pay kefel. Now, if it's struck by lightning, it says a chrais, and that's it. Soon I'm going to explain more. Chatzeroi, gago chatzeroi, kloimar. Says Tosfos, shekisha b'maked michatzero shel baal habayis. Tosfos disagrees with Rashi, which I mentioned before. It hit the animal from your neighbor's yard. V'nichnas l'gago chatzer b'kapifoi. Let's say you, in a very sly way, you led the dog or the cow or the sheep or whatever you want, or the iguana, you led them into your yard, into your car path, into your thing, but you didn't touch it. No hands. I'm a white collar guy. I didn't touch it and picked it up or pulled it. I made it come to my place. I cooked yummy supper for that dog, whatever, and then it came to me, and then I closed the door. Now, why that? Why is that a chiddush? If chatzer is a kinyan and I don't need consent by gneva, why should chatzer be different? And in this special word in the Torah to tell me that kinyan chatzer is as good as other kinyanim. Answers Tosfos, the itzrich l'rabui chatzer. The Torah needs to include add chatzer. Tashmuina to tell me the chatzer koina af lechavosoi, which means the chatzer is koina even though it's to the detriment of who, not of the one being stolen, to the one who is the ganev. He's doing an avera. The law tema, you shouldn't have said keshliach damya. Why is the person's chotzer koine? Why is it that the person's yard is koine? Mechloikes in Bava Kama famous, is it yad or because of shlichus? The chotzer is like my shliach. That's a whole big sugya in Bava Kama. And other places, my yard is like my messenger. Yeah, my shliach. Says Tosfos ben shliach l'dvar avera. We know that if I send someone else to steal and he steals it, it belongs to him, not to me. You can't make shlichus for averas. You can make shlichus for mitzvahs or for parav things, the kinyan. But a shlich for avera would not, the act would not relate to the meshalech, to the one who sent the guy, yeah, to the brain behind the thing. So maybe here a chatzer, which is shliach and shlich l'dvar avera. Maybe by chatzer, which is more remote kinyan, it's like I'm sending my chatzer to buy for me, so to speak. Maybe here it doesn't work because it's an avera. It's a sin to steal. Yeah. Kamash malan de koine. Comes the Torah and tells me yes, the chatzer does acquire it for you. Bava Kama the yesh lech d'bar avera echad shliach lav bar chiyuvahu. Which means, why is it that a mishaleach and shaliach, if I send Ellen will never steal. I send Ellen, me, my fioso brain, Ellen, you steal something from Yosef. Yeah, so then you would never do that. Even if you did, it will be yours and your problem and your avera. The avera wouldn't be mine and the kinyan wouldn't be mine. Yeah, why? Because Ellen is such a Yerushalayim person. Says the Gemara in Kiddushin Daf Mem Beis, I think. It says over there, Divra Rav, Divra Talmid, Divra Mishoimin. Why did you listen to a kivatachta? Listen to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yeah, why didn't you listen to me? You're not my pet. You're not my puppet. You're not doing things for me because you should have listened to Hashem, right? That's only a person who's a Baal Bechira, who has a choice to do good or bad, and of course you choose to do good. Bashenk and the chotzer, the chotzer is just is a chotzer, is a yard, is a bunch of sticks and stones on the ground. That's all. Mimela by chotzer, that's a chidush of Torah. We say that the kinyan does work. Now, no questions now. Why not? Because you already asked your question. I want to give an introduction here. The introduction is as follows. When, okay, and then I'll continue. We're now embarking, Baruch Hashem, on the main part of Merubah. Up until now, it was just an appetizer. And now the Gemara is going to be, in a way, easier. We're not going to have all these technicalities of psukim. We're done with that. Now we're going more into the depth and the lomdus. You have to listen to this introduction because if not, this is basically the Merubah. I'm going to give you, Be'ezus Hashem, as much as I know, the introduction to the whole concept of Merubah. When a person steals from his friend, let me ask you the following question. Let's say a person steals, you go to someone's house and you see something really, really nice, and the guy's such a billionaire, he has one of these huge houses, and he's not going to notice, he's not going to even care if you take his $2,000 little an ornament on the table. Yalla, you need it, you need the $2,000 more than him. And therefore, what do? You start doing kinyan meshicha. You start pulling it from the table, and you're no, it's not in your pocket. It's not in your pocket, because that would be hagbaha. Listen carefully, please. Every word, I'm not giving my flowery examples now, Stam yet. So now you start doing meshicha. You start pulling, and then you're caught in the middle of the act. Yeah, he catches you over the camera before you left his house, and then he says, "Pay kefel. You got to pay kefel. Edim, you have to pay kefel. Do you have to pay kefel or not? Are you already a ganev or aren't you a ganev? Why aren't you a ganev? Yafeh, which means I'm surrounded by one of his graduates. Wow. In other words, because let me just sharpen what you said. Let me ask you another question. Let's say you picked it up. Yitzchok, not you, yeah? Let's say you picked up the little statuette, you picked it up, you won the Oscar. There's an Oscar on the table, yeah? Yeah, so now you picked it up, and you picked it up 3 tfochim from the table in order to be koinate, and he says, oh, now it's mine as a ganav, and you picked it up hagbaha, and then you were caught. Are you a ganav or not? Yes. Why? Oh, wow, I'm amazed. Wow. I should never. Why? No. By kinyan hagbaha. Those kinyan hagbaha is even inside someone's house. Kinyan hagbaha is stronger than kinyan meshicha. Because halachically, kinyan hagbaha, watch me, when you magbia a tefach or 3, it's called mine. Let's say it was with consent, Moshe. Let's say he would have sold it to me, and I'd be a legal guy. Kinyan hagbaha works even inside someone's house because hagbaha is very strong. It's close to my body. The Chronim explain. Kinyan meshicha only works if I pull it out of his house. Therefore, if I pulled, and I have the same idea in mind, and as vicious as the other guy of the hagbaha, but because kinyan meshicha halachically is not called meshicha until it reaches out of his house, yeah. Because halachically it's not called a kinyan, I'm not called a ganav. I don't yet have to pay double, and if it's struck by lightning, boom, or it breaks really unexpectedly, as long, no questions now. So I saw you too. Thank you. Yeah. So now, okay. So now let's say, in other words, in order to be called a halachic ganav, which has to pay double, and which is chayiv the oinsin, any mishap is a chayis, you have to have a halachic kinyan. Of course, Moshe, there is no consent because consent would not be a gneva, right? Obviously. Now, listen to this. Now you're going to be very angry with me. Now, you know what happens after the ganav gets the chayfetz, and now it's in his pocket, or it's outside the house, or it's in his chatzer. You know, now it belongs to him. It belongs to the ganav. No. I want more eyebrows. I want more anger. I'm the kid who's looking for attention. Once the ganav is caught, he did the halachic kinyan, hagbaha, or not hagbaha sefer Torah, hagbaha, kinyan meshicha, kinyan chatzer. It's his. No, it's his object. It's his object. It's his object. Everyone's angry with me. Nobody likes me. No, quick. Okay. Also achrayis, and also the why. What do you mean it says that we're living in a jungle? Is this Hashem's Torah? Don't go off the derech on me now. Says the Torah one interesting word in the Torah. It says in the Torah, veheshiv. Veheshiv is gezeila shel gozal. That's in Leviticus 5. In the Vayikra Perek it says veheshiv is gezeila shel gozal, which means it's yours for very, very nice for all the bad stuff. But, and you're chayiv now, and you have to have kefel, and you have to have chomesh v'oshem, v'chule. But there is a little animal lying on it, like a lion lying on it, says the Gemara, called veheshiv. It's yours, and you're mechuyev to return it to the owner. That's all. In other words, it's yours for all the bad stuff. You have to pay kefel, you have to pay oinus. It's yours, meaning now it's considered to be in your domain for all the liability. But why can't you keep it? Don't tell me because it's not moral. Because Hashem said veheshiv. Veheshiv means that you have to return it. Now let me continue the story, even though it's not going to get to today. Questions are afterwards. Yeah, we're a little bit in here. Yeah. So now, what do you do in North Korea to people who steal? I don't know. So then, so now I don't want to know. Now, let's say the person stole a few pieces of wood, a few logs of wood or pieces of wood from your carpentry shop or from your backyard. He stole them, so it's his for chiyuvim, like you said, Yaakov, and he has veheshiv sitting on it. Veheshiv is gezeila asher gozal. He has to return the very same object that he stole, plus another 100 shekel that it's worth, whatever it's worth. Now, what happens if the person, the ganav, is a very industrious guy? He's not some batlin, he's not an idle guy. He took the pieces of wood, and the guy is artistic and creative. He built, not inside his house, he built a chair, is better, that's a different story. He built a chair. A chair. Now the chair, he doesn't have to give the chair to the owner. Why? Because it's not a gezeila asher gozal anymore. It's not the original item. What he has to do is return kesef, money, and gelt, and dinero. Yeah, he has to give back money of the original thing. Yeah, in other words, let's say the logs of wood were worth 100 shekel. He has to give you 200, one plus knas. But the actual chair is his. Why? That is the kilo bright side of the kinyan gezeila. It was his all along. Elamai, he had a chiyuv to return it. A gezeila shel gozal. But now, really, it's not asher gozal. It's not the same item anymore. And therefore, now, because there's shinui, the formula basically is kinyan. He has a kinyan, hagbaha, meshicha, chatzer, plus a change, a shinui. Now the chair is his. What does he have to pay? He has to pay money. Well, anybody who buys something in the shop has to pay money. So therefore, if there was a shinui, and one of the major issues of Merubah, what do you define as shinui? Let's say the animal became thinner, became fatter, or became an adult. I'm not joking. Let's say the animal was a tiny calf and became a bull. Can I say a bull is a whole new being? Or maybe we say it's the same thing but bigger. These are a lot of lomdisha points which we're going to see in Merubah. There's another nekuda. There's another variable in the formula which I'm not talking about today. That's huge. What happens if the bailim was miyash and at some point gave up? He doesn't think he's going to get it back. It was stolen by an Arab in the south. Go look for the car. Good luck. Yush applies to Aveda and to gezeila. I'm not going down there today because that's too much already. Too much information. Let me just finish to the two dots and then I will be hearing your questions. Now, let's go now to the second line. So basically, all we learned today was that kinyan chatzer is a, so to speak, legitimate kinyan for gneva, just like meshicha and hagbaha is a kinyan that gives it the title of a ganav, and the object is yours, but you have to return it, of course. So too chatzer, you lock your chatzer and you say, I have not seen any baseball anywhere around. You're a ganav just like the person who pulled it or whatever, because that's imotze timotze. In Ken, frag the Gemara. No, excuse me. This whole thing was a question. Why are you telling me motze timotze? Those two words are used up to be the ribui and ribui of the items of the gneva. We use them for something else. We use them for what? We're using them to tell you that kinyan chatzer applies. So how can you use the same? How can you use one word, or even the extra word timotze? How can you use it for two different purposes that never appears in the Torah? The one word comes to teach me two things. Answers the Gemara, no. In Ken Lema Kro, had it been only one usage for the word, I would have said, Oi himotze, himotze, Oi timotze, timotze. The Torah would have said the same word again and again, himotze, himotze, timotze, timotze. They will teach me one thing. But mideshani Kro, because the Torah changed the tense from past tense to future tense, himotze to timotze, so that comes to teach me an extra word, shma mino tarti. From here I can learn two things. In other words, the word is both redundant and strange in tense. Because it's both redundant and different grammatically, that comes to teach me two things. First, it comes to teach me about the items that I'm chayiv kefel, which are only mobile things, v'chule, and everything, not just animals. That's ribu mut ribui. And also it comes to teach me chatzer. It comes to tell me that kinyan chatzer, where it's found in the person's yard, in the person's balcony, the person's whatever, that also comes to tell me that. So from one word, you can learn two things because it's extra and it's changed, it's different in the grammar. Now is a decent time for quick questions. I think you were first. Yeah. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Weiter. Gufa, we are starting today's Shiur, Baruch Hashem. Gufa, we're now touching on a point that was mentioned yesterday, and we're focusing on it. Amarav, keren kein shegonav. Yeah, in other words, when you have to pay because you were caught, and there were adim who caught the person to be a ganav, now how much does he pay? Let's say there was a change in the price or the quality of the product that he stole. The keren, the original principal money, it was worth, let's say, 100. Ke'en shegonav, you stole an object, or let's say an animal, which was worth 1,000 shekels when you stole it. Now, you have to, even though there are changes of price, either now it's worth 1,200 or now it's worth 800, regardless of what's happening now, at the time when you're taken to court, which is the next cutoff point, you always have to pay the keren as in the time when you stole it. You stole 1,000, give back the 1,000. However, tashlume kefel with tashlume Bava Kama, but the double payment or the 4 and 5, you pay 4 and 5 when you shechted or sold the sheep or the cow, then kishasa modo bedin. Then you have to pay them. The parameter is the time when you go to court, when you summon to court. That's the next chapter in the Ganav's life. First time is the theft. Let's say he stole it in Tishrei. He doesn't care to steal in Tishrei. Oy vavo, Yomim naroim. And now in Kislev, you stole. And then in Kislev, he's standing in court. Now it's worth more or less in Kislev, more than before or less than before. Now in Kislev, he stands in court. The double payment or the 4 and 5 that he has to pay is like the current matzah when you stand in din, which means, as I told you yesterday, let's say now the animal is not worth 1,000, it's worth 800. Let's say for whichever reason, we'll discuss 4 different options soon. So then, how much do you have to pay? 1,800, 1,000, because originally it was worth 1,000. I don't care what happened later. Yeah, kishas gezeila. 800 is the double of what it's worth now. Now it's worth 800. Pay an extra 800. So 1,000 plus 800. I thought I'm betting this. 1,800. Okay. For now, say that. Now, frag the Gemara, my time at the Rav. Why is Rav saying what he's saying? What's the reason? Or I would say, what's the source? Well, we saw it yesterday. Omar Kra, the pasuk says, Gneva v'chaim. Remember Gneva and Chaim? Remember the couple, Chaim and Gneva? It says on the door, Chaim and Gneva. That's the, yeah. Gneva and Chaim were the 2 words which remained redundant at the end of all the limudim of the pasuk. They remained jobless. So why is the Torah saying Gneva v'chaim? Amaika Omar Rachmana, why did the Torah say Chaim b'Gneva? Why did the Torah relate Chaim to Gneva? What's the connection between Chaim and Gneva? Says the Gemara now in Aramaic, Achye lekeren ken shegonav. You have to revive the keren to be back to life as it was when he stole it, which means, let's say now it's worth 800. So I don't pay 800 times 2. You don't say 800 and 800, which I think is 1,600, right? You don't do that. That's good for the Chiddush of Torah. You revive it and you bring it back to its original form, financially speaking. And now you have to pay as if it's original, yeah, by the original price. The keren, you have to pay like you stole 1,000. But that would work the other way around too. In other words, you have to go back in history, you have to go to the time machine, time tunnel. And because this item could be years later, yeah, the item was worth X, that's the amount you have to pay. Why? Because that's what the Torah says. Chaim Gneva, you have to mechaya, bring it back to life as it was the original form. Okay, that's what Rav says. Omar Rav Sheshes, now Rav Sheshes comes and he gives Rav a big shtoch, which he already did once before in our Masechta, in Daf name something. Omar Rav Sheshes, Amina, you know what I say? Kinayim v'shachiv Rav, Rav was asleep or sleepy. Omar lo shmaitza. I think when Rav said such a thing, he must have been very tired. He must have been very, drowsy, almost asleep. I don't believe Rav would make such an unintelligent statement. That's what Rav Sheshes says about Rav. Whoa. Why is he saying that? What's his shepherding? Tanya, because he has a claim against Rav. Rav seems to be going against the Brisa. It says in the Brisa, Krusha behishmino. I'm saying on purpose, hishmino. The animal was thin. It was a thin animal, emaciated. Now hishmina, the Ganev, he's really a nice guy. He's only a Ganev because his mommy didn't give him the favorite lollipop that he wanted. That's all. But really, hishmina, which means the Ganev made it fat. He took the cow and he fed it very well. He invested in the cow. He took that very skinny little cow from Paro's dream and he moved to the different type of cow from Paro's dream. Ishmin ota. Ishmin here is a verb. Lehashmin. I know what that is. Lehashmin. Yeah. Ishmina. He made it fat. He fed it. Gefilte fish, grain, mayonnaise. Yeah. He gave it all the good stuff. Galen. Now the animal is fatter. Then mishalem, teshlume kefel, teshlume Bava Kama, all the knossos, either kefel or even if you shechted it or sold it, 4 and 5, ke'ein shegonav. Upa. He has to pay like the time of the Geneva, which means, let's say the animal was worth 500 and now it's worth 1,000. He still has to pay how much? He only has to pay all the knossos, the kefel. He has to pay like the original. In other words, the animal is worth 1,000 now. How much does he have to pay? 1,000. 500 of the original and 500 kefel as it was in the original time. And Rav didn't say that. Rav said that the knossos, the kefel Bava Kama, like the current time, not like the past. Right? Rav says the original price you have to pay like the original time. The additional knossos you have to pay like now. But here we say otherwise. Here we say that you pay even the knossos, even the double and the quadro, 4 and 5 times, you have to pay like the original time. That's not like Rav. Must be Rav was asleep when he said such a statement. Sorry. That's Tosfos. Very nice. Okay. Impressed with you. They went to court. He always made a kinyan. Lo mishanim, no problem. You're saying a similar, not kinyan. The kinyan was when he pulled it. You mean to say like parrots, I think. The kinyan was when he pulled. Now he did a shinui, maybe. Although I'm not sure it's a shinui, but you're onto something. Okay, quick. No, he fattened it. Okay, well, you're getting to the answer already. Yes, quick. Answers the Gemara. Amri, they say, now we're defending Rav. Mishum Domer Lei. Very, very simple. What you guys said was right, but the Gemara says even more simple. Says the Ganav to Ba'abais, Ano Patimna. I was mefatamit. I fattened it. The at shokals. It's true, I'm a Ganav, but you can't make money on me. I'm the one who invested every day and every morning and every night. I gave it good food. I gave it a lot of fodder. I gave it corn. I gave it wheat. I gave it barley. I gave it the best thing. Look, the animal's fatter now because of my investment. Joking aside, Lamai said at the end of the day, that's not what was stolen from you, and not even it's my doing. You can either say it's a shinui, which I'm not sure it's really called a shinui. However, let's leave that on the side, parents. But for sure, it's absolutely unfair to say that the ganav should pay the kefel like it's worth now. He made it worth more. If it's a market value business, it became worth more because the cows all over the world are worth more in the stock exchange, in the investment bank. That's a different story. Then you say pay like now. But if you say that really I'm the one investing, why should I pay for money that I put in it? It's my money that I put in the cow. Every extra kilo of the cow is my extra dollar. I'm not going to pay for my dollars. That's simple pshat. Even before you guys are big lamdanim, but the Gemara says a very simple balbatisha thing. You can also interpret it like you parents, but we're not explaining Tosfos today. That's also a nekuda. Doshma comes now the opposite case. Shmeina, the animal was nice and fat. He made it thin. Oh, miskena. The Ganav, says Rashi, either made it work too hard or hit it. The Ganav is, like the Ganav from the stories, is a bad guy, mean guy. He made the animal be thinner. Mishalem tashlume kefel, tashlume Bava Kama, ke'ein shegonav. Here too, it's the opposite case. Here too, he has to pay the original. Let's say it was worth 1,000. Now it's worth 500. How much does he have to pay? 2,000. It was worth 1,000. You have to pay 1,000 like the original. And also the kefel is like the original. Rav said that the kefel has to be paid like now, like by the time he's taken to court, not like by the time of the original sin. And says the Gemara, that's also very simple. Hosam Nami, there also, Mishum Damrin and Lay, we tell the Ganav who's it's his fault that the animal is now looking so bad. Malikot lakula, malikot lapalga. Who cares if you killed it entirely or you killed it partially? Meaning, says Rashi, we all know that when the person, everyone agrees that if the person shechted it, tvicha or mechir, what's tvicha? If you shecht it in Kislev, now let's say Kislev, you shecht it, you pay like what? Like now, right? Not like the original. Well, you know what? When he stole it, and right from day one, he started mistreating it and hitting, enslaving it, working hard, that's like a slow death. It's like the death started then. So Mimela, don't come to me and say, it's not fair. I should pay the way it's worth now, which is only 500. No, mister. It was worth 1,000. It's your fault. It's worth 500 now. And you took it from 1,000. You killed it partially. You made it worth half. You made it worth less. For that gufa, from the beginning of the death march, so to speak, from then you have to pay. And that, that was once it came to your reshus and you started mistreating it. Mimela, of course, you have to pay the 2,000 shekels. 1,000 original is undebatable, of course. Plus the kefel and Bava Kama is when you started your deteriorating animal, and Mimela it's 2,000. Kika Omarav, let me just finish the sentence. So when did Rav say? So many exceptions to the rule. So when does Rav's rule apply? Answers Gemara with that new shot. Kika Omarav. Rav said his statement, Beyukra v'zula udekama, Yaakov Gitztin, Yukra v'zula. I'd like to say like you, but the Gemara says either became more expensive or became cheaper, got cheaper, not because of the ganav, because of the market value. There's inflation, depreciation, separation, etc. Whatever happens in the market, I'm not such a big maven, I don't have whatever, yeah. What do you say? That's not up to the ganav. If its market value changes, which are not caused by him, then both, in this Havamina, we think whether the price went up or the price went down, Rav's formula remains, and that is the original price, the principal price, you got to pay like the original, yeah? And the kefel or Bava Kama, the extra knosos, the extra fines, you have to pay like now, whether it's worth more or worth less. Sometimes the guy gains, sometimes he loses. Lamaisa, the way it is now, yeah, the way it's now, because it's now worth less or worth more. And as we know, and you're right, Ferrets, we definitely see in the background what I told you at the beginning. The animal is now different. It's not worth the same. Now you have to return it as it is now, as it's worth now. Mitzad the kefel Bava Kama. But mitzad the keren, no. The keren is supposed to. The original, the basic price, you have to pay like the original time in Tishrei, not like now. That's what we're saying at this point. And we have maybe one more session of questions. We're entering North Korea. Enjoy your last question for today. I'm serious. Yes. So right now, although we're not going to stay with that 100%, but generally speaking, up until now, we think like this. If the change in value of the cow, let's say, either up or down, is because of the ganav's doing, either he improved it or he deteriorated it, then the kefel above chamisha are like the original price, because he doesn't have to lose because he invested, and he doesn't have to gain because he mistreated. So you always go to the original, even for the kefel above chamisha. But she'enken, if the up or down was because of market value, because now the cows in I don't know, in Iowa are fatter, nothing to do with him. It's a general global thing. Then we say our kefel above chamisha goes like the current situation of when he's taken to court in Kislev. Not the original. The original is only for the basic price. Weiter. Very good, beautiful. Thank you for your questions. I think now we have it clear. Now, Echidam, Gemara, what exactly is the story? Ilema, if you want to tell me, line starts with the Mikore. The Mikore Shavya Zuza, let's say the beginning was worth 1 Zuz, Besof Shavya Dalet Zuzi, right? Let's say, like I told you, it was worth 1 Zuz. Now, wow, it's 4 times more. There's corona and no stability. From some reason, the price of cows shot up 4 times more. Then Keren Kain Shagana. And says Rav, well, the Keren goes like the original. The kefel above chamisha like now, you have to pay. In other words, there would be a lot. There would be 8, 4 times 2, yes. But the original, the Keren has to be 1. Okay, very nice. Now, Lema Pliga de Rav the Rabba. It sounds like Rav is arguing on Rabba. The Omar Rabba says Rabba the following: Hi man, the gozel chavisa the chamra michavre. A person stole a barrel of wine from his friend. Chamra is wine. He stole a barrel of wine from his friend. Mikol shavya zuza originally was worth 1 zuz. Well, at the end, when we come to court, shavya dalet zuzi, it's worth 4 zuzim. Inflation, nothing to do with anybody. The market value shot up 4 times more. Now there are 2 scenarios regarding how much he has to pay, and soon we're going to see a beautiful Rashi if we have time. Tavra or Shasye, if when it was worth 4, he broke the barrel or drank it, it's mamish his fault. He's not just a ganav, he's mishtaresh b'chet. He's similar to, it's not mamish tvicho mechira, but similar, he's getting more into the sin and he's actually drinking the wine on purpose, of course. Well, it's worth more. Shalem dalid, then he has to pay 4. In other words, now at the time of nezek, it's as if he stole it twice. Originally he stole it, and maybe he thought, maybe I'll return it. I feel guilty. It's still there. It's still there with the Heshiv sitting on it. That was worth 1, 2, 3, 4. It became worth 4. 4. Comes the Yetzer Hara and told him, you drink this wine. Now that's like a second stage of theft. Up until now, it was really meant to be returned to the original owner. Now, drinking is a point of no return, right? Then he has to pay like it is now, because it's ilu now he's stealing it in a way. Now he brought it to a point of no return. It's not stam like it's mamish. Now is the time he has to pay 4. But it's about mimela. But if it was broken mimela by itself, not his fault. It broke because the cat jumped on it. It broke by itself. Mishalem zuza. Then he has to pay like the original price, like 1 zuz. Why? Because what he stole was zuz. He stole a zuz. And the fact that it became 4 and then it broke not by his fault, then we say he pays the original price, which is actually good with Rav. It's not my fault that it broke. Would I return to you, and let's say I had to have him and return it to you, there is Veheshiv, I pay 1 zuz. But the beginning of Rab's statement is not good with Rav. Why? Because Rav said that if you are the one who drank it or broke it or damaged it to a point of no return, you have to pay like the original. Even the keren, the basic price, you have to pay like the time when it's worth 4, when you take it to court, which is the second time. And that's not like Rav. Rav didn't say that, right? Why? Why doesn't Rav understand that if I broke it 3 months later, 2 months later, when it's worth 4 times more, why doesn't Rav say that I pay like the current time? Why does he pay? Why does he say you pay like the original time? Doesn't he believe that that new stage is the whole new gneva? Answers the Gemara first wide line. Amri, they said, they answered Medrash. Enochinami, you misunderstood Rav. one more delete in Rav's list. Kiko Marav, Enochinami. Rav's statement is even more limited now. Kigoni mikor shavi arba, ulebasof shavi zuza. Wow. Out of 4 options, only 1 option survives Rav, and Yaakov Gitzton takes the trophy. When it was originally worth 4, and now it depreciated in price, and it's worth zuzah, 1 zuz, yeah, it became worth less. You have to, what was the words of the Torah? You have to revive. Revive means that we're worth more. Now it's worth less. We're not being nice to the Ganav. Says the Torah, Keren ken shegonav. Even if the Keren now is worth less, it was 4. Now, deteriorated because of the market value. The wine became very cheap because of Corona, of course. All excuses are Corona. You know that Corona is the mega excuse of the world. Yeah. So now the wine is worth 4 times less because of whatever. We don't say you pay like now. You have to pay the Keren like the original because you have to revive it. You were right, Yaakov. You have to revive it. Gneva kemechaim. You mechai to the time of the Gneva. The shlume kefel. I'm continuing the Gemara. The shlume kefel of the Bava Kama, kishas amodu bedin, full stop. The shake and the kefel and the Bava Kama, as simple logic would say, Lamaisa, I'm returning now. It's not my fault. The wine prices went down. They would have gone down by your seller also, mister. You live in Ayalon and I live in Luz, and I'm a thief. So what? The price would have gone down anyways, right? It's not my fault it went down. So I would say I pay you like now. I pay you like now. So the double, or if it's an animal, 4 or 5, I pay you like now. But the original, the basic, the principal payment of the original, you pay the original time. Why? Because we're not so nice to the Ganav. For those of you who look for time at the clock, reason the pasuk, Mr. Ganav, you are Ganav. I'm so sorry, mother didn't give you your favorite green lollipop, but that's not an excuse to steal, and therefore you have to pay. Look, the original high price. The 1 case out of 4 survived. If it's not his fault, it's a market value, and he went down, yeah, then regardless of what happened, your fault, not your fault, whether you broke it or you didn't break it, you have to pay the original higher price. That's the punishment of the Ganav. Applauding you, yeah. Of course. No, we said shoved out on purpose or broke or drank on purpose. The other side was when it happened by itself, mimela. Of course. No, Vada. That's have a good day, everybody. Shiur's over. I'm listening.